I've seen Godzilla Minus One, and I get to talk about it now. I don't really know where to start. I'm not going to go into spoilers. I'm going to just give you some very light thoughts here. I will definitely do a second video here very soon diving into the spoilers so I can talk details about the movie because there is a lot I want to say. And I also don't want to ruin anything for anybody, even though there are people probably looking for every single little detail. So wait for the spoiler video, which will be coming soon. If you've never been to this channel, I'm Mike. I've been a professional photographer for many years now. I've worked with brands, celebrities, artists around the world, and a lot of you may know me from my toy photography through this account, Mike's Monsters. I'm a massive Godzilla fan, and last night, my girlfriend Chelsea and I were able to attend the Godzilla Minus One Hollywood premiere for the United States, the first country outside of Japan to see the movie, and the movie's only been out in Japan for just over a week at this point of recording. And it was a crazy night. I'll give you guys some insight on how the night went as well, too. We got dressed up all fancy at something I never do, but I'll definitely get dressed up for Godzilla any day of the week if I had to. But we looked nice, and we got to stand on the red carpet and take a couple pictures. They also gave away a lot of shirts, and I got this sweet Gigan one. There were so many Godzilla community faces around. I didn't talk to a lot of people because there's a lot of people, and I'm personally not a big fan of crowds, so I get a little shy. So if you saw me there and I didn't say hi to you, that's probably why. But there were a lot of people there. We saw Mike Doherty, we saw Dave Filoni was there. I know I saw Jordan Vogt Roberts, TJ Storm was there. Definitely a lot of friendly faces from the Godzilla community. I saw TOHO Kingdom, the Kaiju News Outlet people, definitely other faces from Instagram and Twitter and things like that. So there were a lot of fans there last night, along with press, and there was just a buzz in the air, and it was exciting. There was definitely a high energy for this new Godzilla movie. We got a little intro from the director and star of the movie, Takashi Yamazaki and Kamiki Ryunosuke. I'm so bad with names, I'm sorry. They were there as well, so they introduced the movie, and we got to hear a little bit of their thoughts beforehand, but there was a Q&A afterwards, which I have already uploaded to my YouTube channel, so watch that if you would like to hear some more thoughts from them on how they made the movie and how they feel about certain things. And it was a really interesting conversation. Not my own, somebody else led the Q&A session. The night was exciting, and I will acknowledge being there makes probably me look like I was hyped up to love this movie, but I went in with a very critical mind when it comes to Godzilla. I have a very, probably too critical of a mind, and once the movie starts, I am just like, we are paying attention. This is serious time. I get super serious when it comes to these movies, so I was there with a very critical eye as a Godzilla fan, but I cannot deny the night was fun and exciting. But I promise you that didn't have any sway over my judgment. This is coming from a Godzilla fan who I cannot remember not knowing or liking Godzilla. This is probably a day since he was born Godzilla fan. His name is on my arm, shirt. He's everywhere all over my apartment, as you can see. I'm a big Godzilla fan, and this movie blew me away. The emotional punch this movie has is very, very, very good. The movie is set in the final days of World War II, and an event happens at the very beginning of the movie with our main character which just caught me off guard, we'll put it that way, sets the rest of the movie forward because he doesn't react to something which causes something to happen, which then he feels the guilt for the rest of the film. He holds this weight that he did wrong, and you see that throughout the whole movie, and he wants to fix that, and that is basically going to be by taking out Godzilla. The movie sets the tone for the post-World War II setting really, really well. You immediately get the sense of they were defeated, but they not necessarily all wanted to be involved with the war. They're all at their very bottom, and we get to see them for the first few years after the war get back on their feet slowly, and then Godzilla shows back up and puts them back down. That's where the -1 title comes in. They were at 0 after getting the crap kicked out of them, and we see the post-World War II Japan having to pick themselves up after their their heavy loss, and each character has weight on them because they've come from this devastating, this horrible experience, be it that they were a victim of war, their family was taken from them, they were in the war. I'll put it this way, this is the first time I've shed a tear for the human cast in a Godzilla film. There are emotional moments in past films for sure, but this is the first time that I have cared so much for these characters that I was like cheering for them, even though I'm a Godzilla fan and I love Godzilla. I'm wanting them to take this monster out. And but at the end, I was in tears because of there's an emotional punch that just takes the entire movie to build up to. And I didn't see it coming. Some people may claim that they saw it coming, but when we get to the release of the emotional build-up, I couldn't handle it and I was in tears. The tone of the film was really, really sad, but I was surprised that there was actually moments of levity and happiness in there. The movie actually gave me hope at times, and there were jokes and things. I actually thought the movie looked so serious in the trailers, but I was pleasantly surprised to find there was humor in the film, and it was a lot of fun at times. The characters were just all super endearing, and I couldn't think of a single one that I didn't like. I enjoyed every single person in this movie. So by the time bad things were happening to them, you were just like so scared for some of them, and you didn't want anything to happen. Godzilla, our main title character, for the first time frightened me. I love the guy. I've never felt total fear of him. Maybe a few moments in Shin Godzilla when he definitely flattens the city with his atomic breath. That was also just so kind of unreal. This movie, while fantastical things happen, felt very grounded, and Godzilla felt frightening and does some really wicked things that we've never seen him do. He moves in ways we've never seen him move. He's really stiff at first, and then kind of when he has to release his energy in some way, he moves really fast, and it's like catches you off guard. I've seen a couple people getting upset about that scene with the atomic breath or something that is online, but you're not seeing it in context to the whole scene and the whole movie. He does move fast, but he moves fast in certain ways. I kind of dug it myself, but I can see why some people wouldn't. For me, it worked really well because of how it was executed. Godzilla in this movie feels like the shark in Jaws, meaning, and a lot of fans may not like this, Godzilla's not in the movie a lot on camera, but he's a presence, and his presence is felt. But when he is on camera, it is intense, it is insane, it is scary. I have never felt my heart race when Godzilla's walking towards a character before, or looking at the camera, or about to do some crazy stuff. Yeah, this movie, Godzilla's a force to be reckoned with and a monster, and he's awesome. But awesome in the like terrifying way. We finally have again, Shin Godzilla was scary, but he was like creepy. This Godzilla has so much character in him, and he is animated so well. There are a few shots here and there that the CGI is not up to par with Hollywood standards, but there are shots as well that were like photorealistic to me, and I was just blown away from it. This movie also didn't have the budget as a Hollywood production, so I can give it grace, but also the rest of the movie was so good that I can see past the CGI issues. I cannot really think of an issue, and maybe it's because it's so fresh on my mind, but this movie, I can see why people are calling it a masterpiece in Japan. I can see why it's probably going to get nominated for awards in Japan. I would love for this movie to get nominated for awards in America, like the Oscars, because I think the cast in this movie performs that well. Like I said, they had me in tears at the end of it because they got me. They were just so good in this movie. It is not your typical Godzilla movie. People are going to ask what kind of Godzilla movie this is like in comparison to, and there are a lot of key elements from many Godzilla movies in here. It's a lot like GMK in certain elements. There's some Shin Godzilla elements. There's 1954 elements. The director also said he was inspired by Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, but I can see heavy inspiration from Jaws, like I said earlier. There's a scene that just feels like it was Jaws. I want to say a quote from the movie and you'll all get it and be like, oh yeah, but when you see the movie, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll talk about that in the spoiler review. So much inspiration in this movie, but it wasn't like a copy and paste. I feel like this is a Godzilla movie that many of us have wanted for a long time. I can say that. I said this about Shin Godzilla, it's a Godzilla movie I wanted for a long time, but there are so many different elements to Godzilla that I love that they've checked a lot of different boxes. Shin Godzilla gave me the very Hideaki version of Godzilla, which I thought was fantastic and creepy and cool. We've got the MonsterVerse, which is wacky and schlocky at times, but started out pretty grounded. And maybe with Monarch, we're going to go back to that. But it's just fantastical and crazy, which is very Showa and Heisei, and I totally dig that nowadays after I've kind of come to accept the direction they've taken. But then I've got something like -1, which to me feels very similar to like a Godzilla 1985 or I said GMK, but it's still just like such a cinematic production that it's its own entity, and I really can't compare it to other Godzilla movies. It's its own thing. There are definitely visual elements from like the MonsterVerse in there, but you kind of, once a Godzilla movie does something, every other Godzilla movie is going to borrow from that one sense. Like Godzilla 98 did Godzilla's spines coming up from the water, and other Godzilla productions have followed suit, which it looks amazing. I love Godzilla's spines coming up out of the water like a shark. It's amazing. And one thing I got to talk about is the score for the film. They use a lot of classic Toho tracks in ways I did not expect, and they just worked. I've used words like this already so many times, but perfectly. Like, I was just like banging my head at times, like going, oh yeah, this is the right track right here, right now. It is hyping me up. Everything's going down. Like, they used the Godzilla theme at the right time, but then all the original music was just absolutely beautiful too. It's somber, it's heavy. You feel the sadness from the music. I do think some people may have set their expectations too high, and I'm already seeing discussions online that I'm like, oh buddy, bring it down a notch. You're not in the right headspace. People have watched every single clip and every single trailer and poured over everything, and are going to go in thinking they may have seen the whole movie or haven't had any surprises. There is stuff in the movie that is definitely not in the trailer, especially at the beginning. And yeah, I just think that in today's world, the marketing shows quite a lot. I don't think the trailer spoiled anything for me, but I admit I stopped watching them after the first trailer released, which you can see my reaction for right wherever I can post that here, maybe in a link below. I'm not sure. I'm really looking forward to seeing the fan base's reaction to this. I see some people being disappointed because it seems like every Godzilla release, nothing seems to go the way people want. And I don't know if that's because expectations get set too high, but I promise you, if you went in blind, you're going to be amazed. If you're just wanting a good Godzilla movie, this is one you can show to your friends and family too, and they'll come out excited. I mean, this had the theater cheering, and you could hear sniffles and tears, and when things happened that caught us all off guard, they were just like applause, and it was definitely it was a magical experience. But the movie itself, I promise you, is solid. It is so good. That's why all the reviews that have been coming out of Japan have been saying that. That's why all the reviews that have come out from this screening are probably saying that too. Again, my only complaints, and I don't even want to call them complaints because I, again, can give this movie some grace, is the special effects in CGI in certain spots were not perfect, but I grew up watching Godzilla movies, so special effects to me are, I can use my imagination and see past that stuff. So I'm just saying that I can see some people complaining about that. I'm still trying to process everything. That's the thing, is I need to see this movie again because so much happened. My girlfriend has noticed a few times that I've just been like staring out into the distance, and she's like, "You're thinking about Godzilla, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah." My brain has seen so much new Godzilla that I that's all I can think about is Godzilla. He's on my mind a lot. But right now, this movie, it's, oh my god, you guys. I'm probably looking like a shill here or a fanboy. This is seriously like a Godzilla movie I've been waiting for my entire life. I said this to Chelsea this morning when we were having breakfast. Godzilla 1985 was a Godzilla movie as a child that really I gravitated to all the time, and a lot of Godzilla fans think it's slow and boring. But for me, when I was a kid and so used to Godzilla being heroic and exciting and all that stuff from the Showa films that I got to watch, Godzilla vs. Megalon, King Kong vs. Godzilla, funny, sillier ones, and then I get Godzilla 1985 as a child, maybe 5 years old, I see it. That movie stuck with me, and I think it was because Godzilla was so dark and heavy and scary in that one, or attempted to be. I mean, most people might not say that today. But this movie, if I saw it when I was 5 years old, probably would have scared the out of me. But it also would have hooked me, and I would have been like obsessed with it because it was just so good with how they executed Godzilla. He does such crazy cool things in this. Unfortunately, the trailers have shown some of them, and you may know what I'm talking about, but if you can go in blind, it's gonna blow your mind. I didn't mean to rhyme. Watch the movie. Get your tickets if you haven't. Hopefully you can get the special IMAX screening events. I have mine for the Chinese theater on opening night. I'm so excited to see it again. I'm probably gonna be just like thinking about it nonstop until I see it again, because it's just so good, and this time I get to see it in IMAX. So thank you for watching Mike's Monsters. Thank you for listening to this ramble as I just probably gushed about Godzilla -1, but I promise you it's amazing. My allergies are kicking in here, sorry. I'm probably gonna sneeze. But thank you for watching Mike's Monsters. I'm gonna sign off before I start a sneeze attack here. Watch Godzilla -1. Thank you to TOHO for the invite. I just can't believe I got to go. I feel very lucky and grateful that my girlfriend Chelsea and I have gone to see this. Check out her review. She's going to be uploading it to her Horror Babe Show channel, which I'm going to plug here. I was the first guest on her podcast. Our buddy Adam Milichevich, who is a special effects creature concept artist for Legacy Effects, was on another episode of hers as well. She's going to be uploading her review very soon, I believe. So check it out. I'll post a link below. But yeah, this Godzilla movie is something special. We should be very grateful for this. You're all in for a treat. Like, I don't know what to say. Subscribe, give us a like, follow me on social media for more toy photography, which I didn't really do anything here, but I cannot wait to get that -1 figure from SH Monster Arts. I promise you I'm going to take a lot of photos of that. So thank you for watching Mike's Monsters. Have a great rest of your day, and go see Godzilla -1.